Hi, Chip.
Here we go.
All right, off and running. Finally. This should be an experience not to forget, right?
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Catherine. Congratulations. Alex, that's cute. So, Heather, I have it set so that I have to admit people sometimes, I guess. But
Hello.
I tried to set it up so everybody could just join in and get started. So let's see. Heather's muted. Catherine's muted. Brandon's muted. Here comes Marcia. As other people join, we get smaller and smaller. It's kind of like on the screen, we'll get more diminutive as we go along.
Well, you can also do it where you switch to the active speaker, and that makes that person blow up to full size.
I know, but I'm using the gallery view. But I don't see you, Paul. Where are you?
This is Debbie's iPad, and for some reason it's got a little icon instead of it, and there's no, on mine there's
probably a place where you can turn on the video.
Up into the upper right-hand corner, Paul.
There certainly should be. There's a record. Oh, there we go.
Well, good luck.
How's that?
Now we can see.
Hey, you did it. Okay, hi.
Heather, hi. Everybody, Brandon, Catherine, Marcia, hi.
Hi, Marcia.
Oh, that's a blue one. Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, click on that.
So there was a request for a recording. So there's a recording symbol in my upper right, so I may be recording, but I don't know.
Go ahead, try.
Anybody else wants
You
to
are
try
recording.
It? Okay, cool.
I think just the host can record.
I'm trying to record
I'm just
too.
giving my Zoom knowledge. Hi, Paul.
Hi.
No, you don't have to be a member. I've got
Eddie.
Dottie. He's trying to get in. Okay, we got a bunch of faces. It's getting started in terms of people getting on, but we're not.
Hi, Mateo.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes is dedicated to people getting on.
Those fancy
start.
And it's Betty. Hi.
Hey there.
So it's probably not warm down there. It's only like 5 here.
Yeah, well, it's only 107 here, so not that different.
Hey, look, this is Paul Stauffer.
Hey, I talked to my cousin. I talked to my cousin in Nova Scotia, and day before yesterday, I hit 100 in Nova Scotia.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
Oh, we can't do speakers. Okay.
Here.
All right. She's having
There's somebody that's having trouble with their speaker.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Heather.
Hey, Catherine, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Yes.
Catherine,
Alan.
you young thing. Hi,
Oh, thank you.
Great birthday celebration for Catherine.
It's birthday weekend. Yes.
So I said something in my message about muting, and that's if we get reverberations and whatnot. So far, it seems like we've got a nice, clean connection. So we'd love to hear from other people who are muted or not. Just
Well, I think it would be good if everybody who doesn't need to talk would mute themselves.
well,
Brandon's muted. You can mute us.
no,
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let people do their own muting. Hey,
Okay.
Alex! Wow, Alex, you're muted.
Take it.
Alex, you're muted.
Do the gallery view.
He's got the real boatman look going on. I like
Yeah.
it.
Hi.
Hey, Alex. Glad you joined
Alex,
us.
He's
hi.
on the boat.
Hi, Kate.
Hi. It's
We
nice
just-
to see everyone.
Yeah.
Is it like daytime there, or isn't it middle of the night?
It's 10 at night. It's 10 at night.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's better. I thought maybe it was.
You've got great lighting. You've got great lighting going. It looks like sunshine
The
coming in the
prison
window.
light. Blah.
Alex, it looks
No,
like, do you
I'm
know where
just-
you are?
It's dark.
I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, in the middle. Oh, I didn't think you got that far. I thought you just left the coast.
No, we're about 600 miles offshore.
Oh, okay.
And you still have Wi-Fi?
He's got something. That's
Yep.
great, Alex.
That's cool.
Probably satellite.
Here comes your sister and my sister. We got sisters coming.
Hello. Oh, look, it's my daughter. Oh, it's Heather and Mateo. Betty, hi. Oh,
Hi, Heather.
Why don't you sit down for a minute?
Alan.
No, I want to come.
Katie, you tired?
Me? No. I live for late night calls.
Hey, Tiffany.
You didn't put the screen on.
Hi. Hi, Deb. Hi, Paul.
No,
Hi.
you have to
Hi.
show the screen somewhere.
Hey, Tiffany, love your background. Whoops, you just changed it.
Maybe your
That's the
computer.
cool thing about Zoom.
It's,
Maybe my iPad only gets.
I don't know. I think Alex has the best background.
It's not shares.
Yeah.
up to the
Yeah, I
top,
think so.
drop down then. Start video down
Here
here.
comes Tammy.
Great.
We've got all the Stauffer kids, and
Hi, Betsy.
here comes Bobby. So we got 3 out of 4 for us. That's pretty good.
It's still a drop.
You should be able to hear me, Chip. I'm having a technical difficulty. I
Video
need
settings?
to go out and come back in.
That's fine. I'll let you back in.
Oh, he meant go outside?
I wasn't sure. I thought that was Alex.
Oh.
Tammy's coming.
Now, apparently, Dottie is having problems. Marcia is in the other room on the phone trying to talk her through to get her hooked up. If you
Who,
see any,
Alan?
Dottie Miller.
Oh, Dottie. Okay. You just have to click on the link I sent.
Well, that's why I told her, but she was
Unclear.
she went with additional problems she was having, and I turned her over to Marcia because she's kind of a technical guru.
Okay. Well, yeah. Sometimes you have to have a practice session in order to be able to pull this off.
There,
Tammy,
Yeah.
hey.
Anyway,
Here comes Laura.
I couldn't figure why I wasn't on there. I could hear you all. Finally realized that the video was turned off.
Yeah, the video has to be turned on. Alex.
Oops.
Looks like Tiffany bumped Alex's picture.
Here comes Allison.
I'm not getting all the pictures. Why is that?
It
Press
depends on
gallery
what
view in
size-
the corner, Betsy.
It depends on what size screen you are. You might have to click to another page. So if you're on an iPad that only does 9.
I know I have 9.
Yeah.
How do I do another page?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get that many on an iOS device.
In the upper right-hand corner, I think on the iPad, there's a place where you switch to the next page. You just try not to disconnect.
You can swipe to the right if you have an iPad or an iPhone, and you'll get like more.
Swipe. That's a good idea, Brandon.
Wipe to the right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And dance to the
or
left.
left, depending on how you.
Maybe
think.
to the left.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks,
Right.
Brandon. One of those
He was
two.
describing
Oh, there's some
whatever
more.
that one
Yeah,
is.
It was to the left,
Yeah, right.
unless I'm mixed up, which could be. Oh, cool. Hi, Tam.
Hi.
Hey, Tiffany.
I see.
Oh, I changed my messy background.
Okay, I see Laura and Allison.
Alex is at sea.
Hi.
hey, Laura.
Keep driving that boat.
The dog says hi.
Yeah.
Allison, can you hear us? You're muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. You're going stealth?
He's
Yeah, I'll
muting
turn
us.
on my video in a little bit.
Okay.
She's at the neighbor's house at a birthday party.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes
I
there's a
don't-
delay in getting her makeup on.
I don't see video for Mateo. Oh, there we go. Mateo and Marcia. I don't see video for Alex, Allison, or Laura.
Alex is here.
Yeah, I'm
box
standing.
for
You don't want
him.
to see the kitchen.
Laura's coming.
Kevin and Laura Stauffer
And
are.
Bob was trying to hook up, but it didn't work.
Who
There's
is JS?
Jessica.
Oh, Jessie.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Oh, hello, Jess.
Jessica, you have a lot of light behind you that sort of makes your face dark.
Witness protection.
That's better.
Yeah, I'll kind of be moving around. With a 1-year-old, I'm always going to be.
That's fine. I just
About.
wanted to let you know it's better if we don't have so much light behind you.
Yeah.
So Jess, you got off work today then?
I did. Yeah, my work was really great. I told them that we had kind of a Zoom memorial, and
Cool.
we thankfully, weren't super strapped for staff, so they took me off the schedule.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
So I see
early dinner here.
Bobby is on, but can you hear us, Bob? Or you just have your video off?
No, I can hear you, but for some reason my computer's not loading the video. So.
Well, that's okay. You're with us. And
Yeah.
Laura, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're just in the kitchen canning, so.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was going to do a little census, and in my mind, we have almost everybody on. I don't see my brother, Tasha, but
David probably can't make it.
yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. And Derry's not on.
I don't see Derry Kathy.
Hi, Bobby.
You don't. It's automatic.
I guess we better wait for Derry.
I've had to start it every time. Won't you mute
I
us?
never have.
He said to mute it when we're not talking.
Oh, you got it, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're there.
Does anybody know about Derry? We want to make sure he's here. Here comes Ryan.
I'm calling him real quick.
He probably thinks it's a different time, right, Alan?
Hey, Gary, are you getting on?
He suffers from the Stauffer curse of always being late and trying to cram too much into the last minute.
I know. Well, but you don't have to spend that much time getting dressed nowadays for a Zoom call.
Okay.
Half as much work.
Okay, Derry's getting on.
Okay, here comes Derry.
Somebody tell me how to change my background.
Too late. We got to get going.
Okay. Welcome to my mess.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Derry, you with us?
Yeah. Okay. Start video. Here we go.
Okay. So Hey, good, Derry. Glad you made it. Okay. So everybody who's coming, it's a couple minutes after 1. So we're going to go ahead and start. And I'm gonna change the order a little bit because Derry's just joined us. Derry, you're going to introduce all of the Stauffers, and I'm going to introduce the Raths. So I'll start since I have an idea who's here on our side.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
So my sister Betsy, my brother Bob and his wife Marilyn, my daughter Kate, and the rest are to you, Derry. Can you see everybody?
I think so.
Okay, so go ahead, introduce everybody. I think
I'm Stauffer now.
Yay!
Oh, you forgot about KT, Dad.
So let's see. Paul, Alan, Tammy, Heather, and her Tiffany.
And Mateo.
And I don't see Mateo, but yeah.
Mateo's there.
Oh, there he is. Hey,
Mateo.
All right. And Betty, glad to see you're here.
Laura and Kevin are on, Derry.
Laura is signing on.
Yes, she's on.
Yeah, I got Paul and Debbie. Okay. I don't, Jesse.
Alice, did you say Allison? I'm sorry if you did.
No, I think I forgot.
Okay, well, there's
Allison.
Hello. Yes, I am.
He wasn't here yet, so.
and Alex was on.
Tasha.
Alex seems to have disappeared.
Alex was on, but he's 600 miles off the Pacific coast, so he might have. He looked dry when we saw him, so he's probably okay. And then my daughter Tasha has joined. And so that's all the introductions. I guess I don't know what's happening with Dottie. She was going to join, but we'll welcome her if she makes it.
Marcia's still talking to her. I'm not sure what the problem is.
And Catherine, Dad, I don't know if she's on your next screen, but Catherine, our
I'm
dear
sorry.
cousin, is also here.
Well, I got a lot of pictures. Sorry, Catherine.
I know.
Okay, Catherine going by the name J-Seef.
Yeah, that's her.
She likes to hide.
Yeah,
and I don't think I mentioned Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Oh, where's Ryan? Oh, and Brandon, did you get Brandon? Anybody we've missed, say hello.
Jacob will be joining us in a few minutes.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Alan.
Here comes
Laura,
Jake.
do you have a camera to turn on? Or there's Jake. Wow, cool.
Some people don't want to be turned on.
Aw.
And so, did we miss anybody? You didn't mention your wife, Derry, did you?
She joined after I started, but yes, Kathy is here.
Okay. Well, not everybody. The idea was we wanted to make sure everybody knew who everybody was without having to ask, because it gets a little complicated as you get down. But I think everybody probably even met everybody else before. So, so our plan, Derry, was for you to lead off and say something, and then introduce Tammy, and then introduce Paul, and then introduce Alan, and then I'm going to do my siblings, and then we'll do the grandkids. How's that sound?
Okay.
So Alan sent out a lot of it, sent out instructions. We're going to try and just, not talk for more than a minute or so. And the people that I mentioned will go first, and then we'll have some time at the end for anybody who didn't get a chance to talk, great grandchildren, et cetera. How's that sound?
Okay.
Take it away, Derry.
I may take one additional minute. I'm going to try to summarize here, but I looked in some of the papers I got from Mom and Dad and came across a Myers-Briggs type indicator for Mom. She's an ESFJ, which means she's a practical harmonizer and worker with people, sociable, orderly, opinionated, conscientious, realistic, and well-tuned to the here and now. I'm not sure about the last one.
Not at the end.
She was planning ahead so much that she didn't always stay in the here and now, but values and passions exercise. She was supposed to pick 8 valuable words out of a list of 41. She picked 18. I'll give you the top 5. Religious beliefs, love, family, service, and thoughtfulness. And I think that describes her pretty well. Personal statement says she grew up in a loving, God-centered, biblically guided, faith-based home where every problem and decision was met with prayer first.
Hold on here. Let me see.
I was assured that I was a beloved child of God who was ever faithful, loving, and caring, and always present for the believing petitioner. Mom passed this belief on to us, I think. As a beloved child of God, I was given certain talents and abilities which were to be used to serve God's purpose for me. Skipping over her biography, and by the way, I'll have to mail it to you. I've if I haven't already, I've got a multi-page description from Grammy Rath in 1912. It's a letter describing her first typhoon, or Baguio, 5 months after her marriage to CER. Very fascinating story. So as far as my part of memories, I have to say Mom always loved me best.
That's very debatable.
She told me I was a beautiful baby. She really loved, I was her first, so, you know, I was bound to be beautiful. I'd say that she passed on to me a love of history, and that came out of, it was exemplified in our travels as a family. She was always reading the triptychs from AAA, all the information about every place we went and the history of it and so on. And then we'd stop in museums, and she was very big on planning ahead, and in later life that ended up making her a worrywart, to the point that all of us first generation can remember deciding we're not going to tell Mom about certain things, otherwise she would just worry herself sick about it. But growing up, I found that her insistence on planning ahead, I found very annoying, because I'm the one that's very much in the moment. I don't like to plan ahead. So at any rate, and I just want to finish up by saying that I have always been impressed by Mom's amazing capabilities and talents, as diverse as knowing how to kill a porcupine to canning tomatoes, just everything. And if we have time later, I can read a letter describing a family situation of disaster at every turn, and that emphasizes how much of an exaggerator she was. She not only had the Rath storytelling gene, but she was very much an exaggerator on everything. The primary example was early in her marriage. Dad tells the story that he came home and she was in tears about how she had just ruined her blouse, spilling something on it. And he was comforting her, and then finally she said, "Oh, well, it's all right. I'll just wash it out." So, you know, she went from ruined to it's a small thing that she'll wash out. So that was her approach to things. I will pass the baton, and I don't know, are we going in age order? Tammy, I guess?
We go to spouses. Do we need Kathy and Betty next?
Age order, age order. It's easier to remember. I hope it's easier to remember.
Just one story. This was Paul and Debbie, when you first moved to North Carolina. What year was that?
They don't have the mic on.
Muted.
2006.
2006, okay.
2006.
Somebody's a good lip reader.
16 years ago, we were touring the Duke Gardens in Durham, and she tripped on something and she did a somersault. And she would have been in her 80s then. And I was just amazed that she could do that. But she said they'd been instructed at Breckenridge that that's what they were to do if they fell. But she did it.
She did a somersault, huh?
And then I want to come back. She and I were always the first ones up. So I got to eat breakfast with her at the table overlooking the lake several times. And that was a good memory. Betty?
Yeah, a lot of my memories too, Kathy, are working in the kitchen with Mom. you know, one of my favorites is, you know, I can see her at the stove making applesauce and Dad at the table peeling the apples. You know, in the fall, like every time you'd go into their house, that seemed to be the scene. One of my favorite stories, though, and I wrote this, you know, I think to some of you at least, was there was a water snake that came up on the rock up at Wanna-Come-Back, and she was so afraid that it would hurt the kids that she just beat the bejesus out of this snake with a canoe paddle. Killed it. And then, I don't know, Kevin may have to tell the rest of how he got the skin from that snake, but the skin from that snake hung on his wall for many, many years. But I can still see her just wailing away with this canoe paddle.
That too, clearly.
Okay, Tammy.
Okay. Favorite memories include classical music was always on. Mom had a stereo in the living room, and eventually somebody, maybe Derry, figured out how to have speakers. Moved down to the basement, so even when she went down to do laundry, she could still hear classical music, which instilled a love of music, I think, in all of us, because it was always on. And maybe it created more brain cells. Who knows? It's supposed to. Piano singing. One of my favorite things to do every time I visited back from Washington State was Mom would play the piano and we'd pull out, she had books and books of show tunes and I don't know, Beatles, whoever, just all these different songbooks, and she would play and I would sing, and those were just wonderful, wonderful memories. Mom and Dad as well always praised us. Just seemed like they were always saying they were proud of us and bragging about us to other people and things, and always trying to instill, long before it became a thing that you're supposed to instill positive reinforcement in kids. They did that. Another thing, things we learned from Mom were the love of nature, and just everywhere we went, driving our trip across the country, we kids would all be heads down reading comics, and she was constantly, look there, look there, look there, look there, you know, look at how beautiful this is, and just always making us aware of a love of God's creation. Drama was a big thing for Mom, not just the stories tell about how drama created over exaggerations of catastrophes, but just reading dramatically. I mean, I still, when I read to the kids I nanny for, to my kids, my grandkids, read with voices and things that make kids love to hear me read. And I was just very proud of her dramatic ability, always. Plays that she was in Worcester, she said that she played the Mad Woman of Shiloh in a play at Worcester, where she had to go from a sane person to a totally insane lady. And I'm sure Mom just totally excelled at that. Wish we could go back in time and see that play. The interesting thing about Mom's dramatics and hysterics about how something was the worst thing, the worst horrible thing had happened, was in spite of that, she was probably the best person to have around in an emergency, because she could turn that off and think clearly and be one of the best sources for solving something quickly and efficiently. My last quick memory is a canoe trip. In Wanna-Come-Back, the last time we got her and Dad up to Wanna-Come-Back, she was in her late 80s, I suppose. Somehow, Derry and somebody got her into a canoe off the dock with me, and I took her for a paddle, and she even helped paddle a little, but I took her around the cove across, and she actually got back out of that canoe, which boggles me, because last summer I could barely get out of the canoe. So those are some of my favorite memories, and I will cede the mic to Paul.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I think I just want to give a few qualities that I have because nobody's taken that approach. But first I want to say, for sure, I was her favorite son. And she just hid it really well from everybody else. But
Really
that
well.
said, I think first and foremost, I think Mom was an excellent role model. As a mother, a parent, a teacher, a friend, she always led by example. She was inspirational and even motivational. She, for me anyway, was effective guidance through all my different life challenges. She was, I think, you know, without doubt, infectiously positive and enthusiastic. She always was my Pollyanna spirit. She was generous with her time, her energy, with her efforts, always interested in others. It wasn't about her, it was about others. So she was engaged. You say she's not, somebody said she wasn't in the moment, but she certainly was interpreting signals from those around her. And she was friendly, interactive, and animated, and always helpful. She gave support to everybody without questions or any bounds. And her spiritual side and psychological guidance for others was just, everyone sees that. I guess I'd give one little silly story maybe, but typical of her is we were riding in our car, for instance, on a long trip, which happened quite a few times, going up to want to come back every year, going to Florida. Especially memorable to me was when I was 12 years old and we took the family of 6 in one vehicle across country to California, every major national park. And you know, nowadays you make a big invasion of a fast food restaurant or something and try to feed a family. It's like you know, a big production. Somehow we'd be driving along the road and she would pick up at lunchtime one shoebox size box, and she would magically feed our whole family of 6 with great sandwiches. I have absolutely no idea how she did that. Reminiscent, I think, a little bit of this Christ and the sharing of the fish with the masses. But she was, to me, an amazing person, and I think I'm so glad that we're able to kind of share some stories and hear each other's perspectives. So I would be happy to pass the baton on to Alan and Mark. Oh, Debbie, I'm sorry, please.
Okay, I'll be quick then.
Oh, that's okay.
No. So
no.
I just want to say that in the early 70s, when Paul and I were dating, he said, "You have to come and meet my family." And I'm like, oh, okay. So it was like I walked into an Aussie Harriet, like Margy was in the kitchen cooking in the garden, and it just open and loving and accepting of me. And that was my initial reaction to her. It was just so welcoming and loving. And then through my life, I mean, I think we really got close when I had Ryan and I had a lot of issues, and she moved in with us for 6 weeks to help take care of Ryan and me. And she gave me all these recipes, which I'd come to find out a lot of them are Betty Rass, a lot of them are Betty Stauffers, but they were all great. And she taught me to cook, and she was so positive and such just a wonderful influence in my life. So I pass the token to you, Ellen. You're on.
Hey, well, a lot of things have already gotten covered by my elders here, but I'm going to riff a little bit on Tammy's mention of the music. That great stereo we started out with just a hi-fi, which for the younger generation stands for high fidelity, which was a big thing at that point, you know, even though it was mono, you know, with as in one speaker, only one channel. But then we got a stereo, and that was a major thing. And then probably Paul hooked up the speaker in the basement, I don't know, but that was great to have music there. But the nice thing is that we did all get this love of music through the fact that Mom was always playing music, and her choice would be classical. But one thing I think was really great about her was that she was very inclusive. It wasn't that she would just have, her classical music and that's what we would all listen to. she was happy to let us play, whatever of our, rock and roll or whatever, on the stereo, and she would actually enjoy it, and say, she would have her preferences on one thing or another, but she wasn't, telling us, oh, for Pete's sakes, turn that awful stuff off. She was very inclusive about that. She was very inclusive about a lot of things. I remember even at one point talking to her about some different ideas that I had regarding religion, which is, of course, something that she feels very strongly about. And I was very impressed that she looked back at me and she said, well, there is nothing in the Bible that says that is wrong. That may be. And wow, I was really impressed, that she was willing to help me work that in. But with the music, I agree with Tammy, the singing around the piano. I have such fond memories of Uncle Charlie singing Moon River and, trying to keep up with him, which of course I couldn't because he had this awesome voice. You couldn't sing Moon River next to Uncle Charlie and compete. But she was just very considerate in all ways. One thing was, her way of asking you to do something, which was actually a little annoying, but it does speak to her wanting to be considerate at all times, is she would say, do you want to go out and cut the grass? Do you want to wash the dishes? Do you want to do this, or do you want to do that? And of course the answer was always, well, no, And I even told her as I got older, and it's just like, Mom, stop asking me if I want to do something. If you want me to do something, tell me you want me to do this. But the answer is always going to be a no, Mom. But it didn't stop her from doing it. It's just that eventually we knew that, well, if she's asking, do you want to do something, then obviously you really do want to do that, But she really did teach us all to be very considerate, and that was kind of the Rath way. Even Uncle Charlie's, on his last day of his life when he went, to the nurse's station so that they didn't have to find him in his room. He was just very considerate and said, I'll just die here in your nurse's station, and you can go from there, and you don't have to go find me. That was kind of the Rath way, and she passed that along to all of us. She, her method I always remember of getting us to do something was because Dad would just go ahead and do things, and Dad wouldn't insist that we have to help. He was kind of he'll just go out and do it. And, so Mom's method was always, your father is outside, mowing the lawn, or he's outside raking all the leaves, or he's outside planting this, or he's doing this, that, or the other thing, and you really should be out there helping your father. So that was a great way of accomplishing things. And let's see, what else did I have on my list? I should mention, Paul did not, but her amazing way, that time that Paul drove down to Arizona and got into that terrible accident. And she had woken up in the middle of the night and had this terrible, feeling that, he didn't have insurance, and she had to do something about that. And so she, first thing in the morning when the insurance agent opened up, she called the insurance agent and said, I need to get insurance on, my son's car. And, then Paul had the accident, and the insurance agent, to his credit, actually made it go through. So that Paul ended up, having insurance on his car. But, that was
amazing.
Yeah, that was Mom watching out for us. So the only last thing I'll mention.
That was the shortest insurance policy ever written. I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah. It's not there right now, but I just had to mention that I was very curious to see Mateo's knee higher than his head. How the heck does he do that? I'm looking at it and say, what is that knee next to his ear? You know, who does that? So, okay, I'll move it along. Marcia, do you have anything?
I didn't really prepare much. I didn't want to take the time away from others. Mom was, we all know she was a wonderful person. She was always gracious and kind, and I can't think about her any way except always busy doing something. Well, except playing bridge. I do have fond memories of playing bridge most every Sunday afternoon, really, for as long as we've been married. We were either playing bridge or playing Rummy Cube or whatever, because after a while, Mom's hand couldn't get any flatter on the table and she couldn't really see the cards anymore, so we'd play Rummy Cube. But even though it was a struggle for her, I mean, we all know how hard it was for her to see those cards. She really wasn't seeing them these last few years. But she still tried. She still wanted to play the games just to be with the family. So she wasn't just sitting. We were together doing something. Okay, that's it for me. Moving on.
So I'm not sure where it goes from here.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
But if it's okay with you, Alan.
Absolutely.
So you know, you all did such a wonderful job of talking about your mother. It just reminded me that, you know, the four of you have all the wonderful traits that Margy and Dwight had, and it just really struck me hearing you all talk about her. That, you know, you four are wonderful people, and I know where you got it. So I just had a couple things to say about Margy, and as you all just experienced, it's impossible to really cover it all. But I thought Margy, red hair, warm smile. We spent so much time together growing up that she was like a second mother to me. Mother's font of nurturing and molding who we are. The Stauffers and Raths were lucky in theirs, and our parents in theirs, obviously. Our Grammy Rath, widowed in 1948, shortly afterwards moved into the wonderful Yellowstone Road house and was adored by all our generation. Margy, Dwight, Derry, Timmy, Paul, and Alan grew up surrounded by love. But Margy was not just loving and nurturing, she was talented and adventurous. Imagine raised as a round-the-world traveler as a little girl, cruising the Pacific and the Suez Canal, growing up in a foreign culture. She and Dwight went to work in Beirut, Lebanon, shortly after World War II, I think 1947. She, like our family, was smart with a theological degree. She was a gifted teacher and a pianist. And I remember well what several have mentioned, all gathering around the piano as she played, a Rath Stauffer chorus warbling. Derry recently shared the speech Margy wrote for my mom's 90th birthday celebration. It demonstrated Margy's thoughtfulness, intelligence, and spirit as she recounted the high regard and love for both my parents, but she singled out the sisterhood she felt with my mom. Margy was a gem, and I'm lucky, and we're all lucky for how long she's sparkled in our lives. Thank you, Margy. And now, if my brother Rick is interested, I will ask him to say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, good. I didn't know whether I was really on. I had a little hard time getting on. I didn't remember my password. But anyway.
But you did it. Go ahead.
When I think Aunt Margy, Aunt Margy is my favorite aunt. And when I think of Aunt Margy, I think of her great laugh and her beautiful voice and what a giver she was. You know, there's talkers in the world and there's doer. And she was definitely, just like my mom, a doer. And I probably spent more time with the Stauffers than any of my siblings. because I love to go to Canada. They're usually running around doing something. But I remember one particular summer up in Canada when she did get a little irritated with me. And that was, I decided to have a peanut butter jelly sandwich on the porch and up and want to come back. And she said, don't forget to put the top on the jam. And I said, okay, well, I made the sandwich and I didn't. Uh-oh, did I lose you?
No.
We got you.
Okay, anyway, so I forgot to put the top on, and the next morning when we woke up, we went out and there was a mouse drowning in the jam. And it was, and she goes, oh dear, you forgot to put the top on. You know, now the jam is ruined. She goes, oh, that's not mine, that's store-bought. Okay. But I have a lot of fond memories of her. What a wonderful lady. And I guess the easiest thing for me to comment on her is that I thought so much about her that I named my youngest daughter, who we call Maggie. Her real name is Margaret, after your mom. And that's about as good a thing as I could think of doing. She was wonderful. And I'm sorry to see her go, just like my dad. But as my dad said, you know, as long as you talk about them, they're never truly gone. So I encourage you to continue talking about your mom and remembering stories and sharing them on yourself. God love her.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Babette.
Yes.
It's
Hello,
your turn.
everybody.
Hi.
I'm glad to see you. It's hard to only see 9 at a time, so I scroll back and forth. Thank you, Brandon, for telling me how to do that. I have, as everybody does, a million memories of Margy, and like Chip said, she was like a second mom, so much so then when our parents abandoned Bob and me in 1958, and I'm almost over it, honest to God.
Oh, I know.
Margy took us in, and it was like seamless. You know, it was not, we just were part of the Stauffer family at that point, and we just joined them. So Margy had 6 kids instead of 4, and you would never know. She was not a complainer. She didn't sigh a lot, which I would definitely sigh a lot if I had 6 kids. But she just took care of us and included us in the family. And that continued on as we started changing kids at Somerset, Pennsylvania, and we would exchange Paul for me and me for Paul. And so Tammy and I got to hang out, and Paul and Bobby got to hang out. And so we had like 2 families growing up, and that was awesome. The other thing I remember, you know, certainly Margy was the best multitasker, like my mom. I mean, my mom, Margy, they're like the same person, except Margy had red hair, but they both could do everything without it looking hard, you know. And I know now as a mother of only 2 kids that I couldn't do it. And I just want my kids to know, Catherine's the only one on, but I just want you to know, you are so lucky we had electricity when you were growing up, because my mom and Margy cooked dinner and pies on a wood stove, and I don't even know how to turn it on. So you are lucky we had electricity, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have survived. That's all I'm saying. So she was fun and funny, and she was probably the best of anyone at charades. My father was not that good at it, but Margy was extraordinary. And she just made life fun, and I miss a lot about her. I especially miss her raspberry jam. I have never found anybody who can make raspberry jam like Aunt Margy, and I can tell you I have tried hard and look long and high. And every time I see it at a farmer's market, I buy it and I go, no, that's not it. That's just not it. So she's, she was wonderful. And I am forever grateful that my grandson chose to visit schools in Ohio in February. So I got to 1, visit my sweet Heather, and 2, visit Tammy, stayed with Tammy, and visit Margy. and I got to go see her twice in Breckenridge. And it's, you know, I'll forever be grateful that I was able to do that. And I knew it was my last time to see her, but I didn't know that it was going to be so hard for her and her family at the end. But she was charming, and of course, and I've got to tell you that she didn't know what day it was, and she couldn't remember that it was me from day-to-day visit. But if you started talking about the Philippines, her memory was exact, just like my dad's. You know, I mean, there was something special about that time for them, is that they didn't forget any of it, none of it. So I am grateful for your mother, and for her being my other mother, and for her taking care of Bob and me when my parents would not. And, oh, that's right, I'm almost over it. Anyway, I love your mom. I love you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Betsy.
Thank you.
Okay, Roberto.
So I have that shared memory with Betsy in 1958, and I remember being on Yellowstone Road for that. I think we were there 4 weeks at your house, and I think we were with my Aunt Marnie for 2. Maybe it was 50-50, but I don't think so. We spent time with, we had a couple overnights with Grammy, because she still had her house in Worcester.
Yep.
That 1958. And but your mom in 1958 was so wonderful to us, and I remember her making lunch, and that's the first time I ever had melted cheese on toast, and I thought it was one of the most fantastic recipes that I could ever imagine. I still eat it today. I probably upgraded my cheese, but you know, that. And one of the things that she did is she took us candy shopping before we got on the plane. So my first plane ride was in a DC-4 in 1958 from Cleveland to Washington DC, and I remember that she bought me a Three Musketeers, and I had that Three Musketeers in my little pocket all the way on the plane, all the way till we got off the plane, and it was August in Washington, so it was probably about 90. In those days, there was no air bridge. You know, you walk down the stairs, and our family friend June Dorman was waiting on the tarmac as Betsy. And Joan said, "How are you doing?" And then I pulled my candy bar out, and it was just a melted goo all over my hand. Anyway, so your mom set that up.
Hey, Bobby, did you learn something from that experience, as Dad would say?
I should have eaten that candy bar earlier.
Yeah.
And then another one, a comeback story. I don't know how many people that your mother busted, especially young kids, for lighting matches, but she busted me after I had made a trip up to Russia, and she somehow was after me, and she said, "Were you lighting matches up there?" And I said, "Yeah, I was practicing." She said, "Stop that, you'll blow us up." So I thought it was the safest place, but anyway. Your mom was a delightful, wonderful human being, and we'll all miss her. And thank you for just having this opportunity to share stories. Love you guys.
Thanks, Bobby. So I see, excuse me, I see that Dottie is signed on. I don't know, can you hear us, Dottie? Anyway, if you would like to say, what?
She's having trouble with audio. Basically, she's listening through our phone.
Well, that's okay. I was going to give her a chance to say hello, but we can wait. If she fixes it, she can do it whenever. But anyway, Dottie is Grammy Rath's oldest grandchild. and Al's oldest daughter. And it was nice you were able to join us, Dottie. And I hope you've been able to hear some of the wonderful tributes to Aunt Margy. And so
Chip, I just put her on speakerphone. Let's see if she can.
oh, you want to say something on speakerphone? That'd be fine.
I can hear y'all perfectly. I did miss what Tammy and Derry shared at the beginning because we didn't get logged on yet. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's good to see everybody. And my relationship with Margy goes back almost 79 years. So I'm now, I guess, the patriarch of the rat side of the family. But Margy came down shortly after I was born. And I have pictures of her holding me. And not too many years later, when she was getting married, I was a flower girl in the wedding, and I have a picture. In fact, I still have the headdress with a little tiny rosebud that I wore at the wedding. And so she's always been very special to me. She's was as a mentor to me spiritually, and of one who showed great compassion and love, and always sought to encourage me in the right direction, which Grammy did also. In high school, I achieved quite a few things, and Grammy and Margy were both there for my high school graduation. About 649 graduates, and I gave the invocation, and Grammy gave me a graduation card that basically said, okay, now you've achieved that, so what now? What are you and the Lord going to do? And so both Grammy and then Margy always said to guide my course straight where they thought the Lord would want me. And Margy was encouraging always and sending me letters and guideposts and all different things along the way. She visited with us out here at the ranch where we've lived full time for 20 years. But she was out here several times when she was more mobile. I don't remember your dad being out here, but I have pictures of her being out here. And my children and I and Dennis always thoroughly enjoyed our time with the Stauffers, both at their home and Cleveland Heights on Yellowstone and at Wanna Comeback. I can remember going with Dad to Wanna Comeback when I was, I don't know, 5 or 6, and going in a prop plane to get close enough and then into Toronto and to get the train and ride the train, and when you got to see it store, somebody would stand on the railroad track and wave a flag so the train would stop so you could get off, and then go by boat over to the flight hill that goes up to Wanna Comeback. And I can remember as a young child walking with Margy to the spring, which was the only refrigerator at the time, and how she was always so gracious and encouraging, and was a great love for me that we shared. And I loved that one pie she'd make up there with the cream cheese and all the fruit on top. That was always delicious. But as I recently just sent to Rick, happy heavenly birthday to Uncle Charlie, that he couldn't see him anymore here, but he was in my heart of hearts, along with Margy. And so I'm remembering him for his birthday on the 14th at the same time we're honoring Margy. But she's, I guess everybody inherited a little bit of red hair from Margy. I have, and Skip has not real red hair, but Jenny has James, who has bright red hair. And Johnny has his daughter, who has bright red hair. So it got passed around pretty good. So, but Margy was so good to come down here and visit with my dad when he was hospitalized, and was always encouragement. But I remember the singing and piano playing of the three of them, and that's how I see them in heaven now. There's got to be a piano of some kind there for Margy to play and for the three of them to sing together, along with the heavenly host. So I have very sweet memories of my children being there in the house and my being there. My boys climbing the apple trees, picking apples out back, and Dwight would be playing in the driveway. Lots of different things that Margy and Granby were always so good, and I'm glad y'all included me in this because that's been a real blessing to everyone. Thank you.
Oh, so Dottie, it's so good to have you join us, and thank you for the effort to do so. And pass.
I just want to add something, Chip. She was talking about passing the red hair. It looks like Bob got the hair, and she was passing it so strong. I think Marilyn got it too.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
also,
I want to just saying, Dottie, please pass on our love to your siblings. And Dennis.
Well, I certainly will.
Okay, so Gary.
Yeah.
Audio recording of what everyone is sharing?
Maybe. Paul thinks he did.
We'll see. I'm trying to record it, but we'll see what we can do to share it.
More than welcome.
You're welcome.
Just a comment on the red hair. She kept that red hair, a full head of red hair, right up to the day she died. And I think that's just amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
So Gary, I would like it if you would, I'm not sure how you all want to do it, but I'd like it if you would introduce your kids, and you all figure out how you want to pass that on. Maybe Gary, you want to introduce all the Stauffer grandkids and great grandkids so they have a chance to say something.
All right. Well, let's see. We've got Kevin, I assume. Oh, there you are. You got your video on now. Hi, Kevin. Kevin and Laura. And Heather is with Mateo some part of the time, as much as could be expected. Let's see. We've got Jacob, Kevin's son, oldest, the big guy. And is Adam able to join us?
No, he's at work today.
Okay. Kevin, why don't you go ahead as the oldest of the next generation?
Sure. So we've had a video off throughout the entirety is that we've been in the kitchen canning all day, which is a pretty fitting tribute to Emma.
Yeah.
It's certainly something that I remember very fondly of, being able to eat out of their pantry and their garden, and yeah, definitely something that we've liked to carry on as well, is being able to do that. One of also probably the fondest memories of Emma is her sense of humor, her laughter. If you could, and I think that it's kind of a tribute to why maybe all of us think that we're a lot funnier than we are, because we always were trying to make her laugh, to get a laugh out of her. And if you could time it just right, and you can get she and Grandpa laughing at the same time with his big chesty laugh and her, kind of, they harmonized just right. So that was definitely something that I'll always carry with me.
Laura, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, she's been a very important person in my life. She's been pretty much my only grandmother. Both of my grandparents, I never met one of them, and my other grandma died when the boys were super young. So the most important thing she's been for me is a guiding light for the Stauffer family, but also a great grandmother for the boys, which that's phenomenal. Who gets to have that? Yeah. So both boys have had that and it's been extremely special.
Following up on that, Jake, why don't you take over here?
It's really windy out here, so I'm sorry if that cuts in a little bit. But yeah, no, just to follow up on that, I was extremely lucky to have such a huge family, always so close by, but also, you know, just to have great grandparents for such a strong majority of my, you know, childhood and growing up. And yeah, I just never a time, like I don't remember a single time that she wasn't smiling or laughing, and just always happy and always wanted to be with the family, always got everybody together. And it was, you know, she was fantastic. And, you know, it's incredible that I even got to have great grandparents, but the impact that they've had on me is substantial. I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I am today without, you know, great grandpa. And yeah, they've, both of them have had a fantastic impact on my life, and wonderful people.
Thank you, Jake.
Heather.
So yeah, I mean, having the joy of growing up in the same town as my grandparents, both sets of grandparents actually, but you know, is something I'll always carry with me. Sunday dinners, playing games after dinner, flank steak, rice pilaf, and corn on the cob was kind of the standard fare, and can't eat any of those things without thinking of grandma. And I think it was probably not until I was in college that I realized that not everybody dipped their grilled cheese sandwich in applesauce. But
homemade applesauce.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But no, just so many wonderful memories. You know, when I think of grandma, it's piano, dinners at their house, games, want to come back, pinochle. And the fact that Mateo had a chance to get to know her even when we weren't living nearby, and that, you know, she was actively engaged up to the very end, asking about, oh, his running, he runs, how is he doing? Like she never really missed a beat. Such an honor to grow up with her.
Kim is here.
Are you done, Heather?
Yeah.
Okay, Kim, are you able to hear us? Can you unmute your mic, Kim, if you would like to say something?
Where is she?
At the bottom.
The video is off, but your mic is also off, Kim. Okay, we'll move on to Tiffany. Kim, if you would like to speak, unmute your mic after Tiffany, okay? It might be a little emotional at the moment. Tiffany, you need to unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
There it goes. I know. I was clicking on it. It wasn't. Yeah, Grandma was great. I didn't know her as well as a lot of people because she lived in Ohio, you know, and we lived on the West Coast. But it was great when she came out for Christmas. And then, you know, when we went out for when I come back and saw her, that was always a lot of fun. And my biggest memory of that time was the purple beans. I was so excited to have purple beans, and I was very confused about why they were purple and how they could possibly be purple. And so I thought they were some kind of like magic bean. So they were purple, and then you cooked them and they were green. But those were some of the best beans I've ever had. And I was always very impressed with their garden because I've got a black thumb and I've killed just about every single plant I've ever tried to keep around. And they had this huge garden, you know, that just went on for, was like a couple acres or just 1 acre, or I don't know, it looked huge to me.
1 acre.
1 acre. And then when I was out there for school, I went to Worcester. I felt like that's when I really got to know Grandma and Grandpa a lot better. And my biggest memory from that time is really the spring break when I was trying to finish my IS, and I stayed with Grandpa and Grandma, and Grandma made me iced tea every day, just like gallons of this like sun iced tea that I just drank, and they were so great. They just left me alone, and I just sat there and worked on my IS from the time I got up to like midnight or 1 a.m. and then went to bed. God, it was just a whole week of them just like feeding me. And my last memory of grandma was basically that, you know, no matter how many vegetables and fruits I had, she always thought it wasn't enough and would be offering me more. Well, don't you want an apple? And, you know, we've got bananas and cherries and there's oranges and I'm good, Grandma. I had an apple. It's good. So that's what I remember of Grandma. So.
Okay, it looks like my son is way out to sea and has lost his connection. Kim, you're still muted. If you care to come in at any time, unmute your mic and just let us know.
But Tammy, for anybody who missed, your son Alex called in from a ship 600 miles off of the Pacific coast. So we got to say hello to him and see him. He's looking very much like a seaman.
And he got Mama's red hair. Unfortunately, he's got his dad's early balding and is losing it. He's the only one of that generation who got the red hair.
But he has a really big beard.
A big red beard, though. Yeah, he's got the red beard. Actually, Derry and Paul both had red in their beards many years ago.
A little bit.
Yeah. I guess we're passing on to Paul's kids.
You're muted, Paul.
What I'm saying anyway. Ryan, it's Ryan's turn. Please talk to us, Ryan.
Hi, everybody. I just want to echo a lot of what was said already, especially Tiffany, what Tiffany just said. You know, I think it was a similar situation for me growing up on the other side of the country. I didn't get to see her very often, but every time, because of that, every time was special. It was either a Christmas visit or a visit in the summer vacation, a long trip up to Canada, or, you know, every couple months, a phone call that was an event. And, you know, I realized just, you know, a lot of these things were very important moments in my life. The first one of those I really remember is Grandma and Grandpa came out to visit for Christmas. I think I was probably 6 years old. No, I was 6 years old at the time. And they came out for a couple weeks, and so they lived with us and you know, over winter break. And it was an event. And one of the things we did that year is they took us to the movies. And I remember this one time in particular, it was not a movie I wanted to see. There was some superhero movie out at the time that I really wanted to see. And instead we saw The Land Before Time, which turned out to be great. But I remember I just threw a fit. I was upset. And it was, you know, the kind of fit only a 6-year-old boy can throw. And Grandma in particular was probably upset, but so gracious about it. And I got a talking to later from my mom about how disappointed she was that you know, I wasn't grateful. And I remember that, and I still feel bad about that 35 years ago. The very next year, I think, was a visit in Cleveland in the summer, and it was 3 weeks with my sister and I, with Grandma and Grandpa, and I think that was the first time that long away from our parents. So that was an event I remember, and it was one of the only times we spent a long time in Cleveland and not just going straight up to Canada. And that, I think, really, to echo Tiffany, really showed me the gardening. And yeah, the magic purple beans is the word I was going to use, that turned green, were just delicious. And especially picking them yourself, and the raspberries and the applesauce. If anybody has the applesauce recipe, I want it, because our first apple tree is starting to produce.
You got to have the right apple tree, though. It's got to be a Macintosh.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I can get something close. But
Mott's is the closest.
And jam, yeah, and so, you know, my wife and I have picked up on that, you know, knowing you can, we've started our own garden and making jam and things that I think, you know, realizing from her that yes, you can do it. It doesn't have to, jam doesn't have to come with a Smucker's label on it. Some later times, I remember visiting when I was 16, another summer trip, and I just had my license, but Grandma and Grandpa loaned me their car to drive around, and I think drive down several hours to visit Alan. I remember that. Not very, a lot of trust to loan a 16-year-old your car. After that, you know, and then I think their last visit to California in the early 2000s, they met Allison, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and what she remembers is just talking to both her and Grandpa, and they listened to her talk about her research for about an hour, and it's computers and drones, and not something that they really knew about or were involved in, but you know, they listened and were interested, and Allison really remembers that to this day. So after that, they couldn't travel as much, and my visits got fewer as work comes up, and you know, it's harder to take 2 or 3 weeks off in the summer to get out there and go to Canada. So I talked to her less and less after that, but every time it was still an event. And I'm just sorry it wasn't more, and you know, wish I'd made more effort the last few years. Actually, I had a trip out to plan to visit on March 14th this year, which was the day after, you know, the lockdown started at Breckenridge. So I'm very sad I didn't make that, and will be forever, but we'll remember what I have. Thanks.
So Allison?
Allison Margaret.
Yeah.
Allison Margaret Stauffer or McLeod. All of those.
Just a few things I wanted to mention. Definitely, like Tiff and like Ryan said, sort of the long winter visits were very memorable, very impactful. We loved those times when Grandma and Grandpa would come out and spend like a solid, a couple weeks with us. They would flip like Seattle for New Year's, our house for Christmas, or vice versa. And I feel like that sort of holiday experience set the tone. That's something we still do in our family. Like, not like this day, it's Christmas is 2 weeks, and time that we had with Grandma and Grandpa for that 2 weeks, that was the only time we got to see them all year. Every day we'd play games, we'd go for walks in the hills. Like, it was a really great experience. And then often they did come in the summer as well for birthdays and graduations. Even though we didn't get to, see them nearly as frequently as if we'd been in Ohio, we definitely have. The other thing I want to mention is the time in the Yellowstone house. We loved our visits there. I have great memories. I'm not sure if our videos.
Do you have 2 Zoom sessions going at your place?
I'm going to stop her.
You have to mute.
We're free.
We're getting some reverberation because you have.
Can you guys
2
hear me
open.
okay?
No, yeah.
No, yeah, it's much better.
Okay. The other thing I was just going to say is our time at the Yellowstone house always felt like a grand adventure, and getting to play in their garden, like other folks said, was huge. Well, it's reverberating. Oh, okay. All right. And want to come back trips, going up in their station wagon. She always made it an adventure. Loved to watch her cook, of course, like other folks said, and just very warm, very loving, a hugely positive presence, as everyone else has said. So I don't know if we're cutting out or not, but
You guys hear us
Were
okay?
you there for the bear? Or was that just Ryan up at the cabin?
There for the bear.
That she put the log in front of the door and then took pictures?
Very calm and rationally slid the log in front and took some.
It wasn't there, but that's one of my fond memories of Grandma.
You have anything?
I'll just be quick. I'll just share one funny story. I think I met Margy and Dwight in 2001, and it was Jessica's graduation from 8th grade. And so there was a huge ceremony at her middle school, and Margy and Dwight came. That's weird feedback. Anyway, yeah. Margy and Dwight were there, and they got separated at one point. And I went up to Margy, and she was looking a little worried. And I said, "Hey, where's Dwight?" And she was like, "I don't know. Have you seen him?" And I was like, "No, I haven't. We must have gotten separated." And she did her whistle, which I'm sure you guys know, that whistle that they had. And within 30 seconds, Dwight found her and came from behind, and he heard the whistle. So I always thought that was so funny how they had that special with communication.
All right. I think our iPad's overheating because it's 107 degrees here. So we just came inside, but hopefully some of that came through. We'll pass the baton to Jessica.
So Allison, we did hear most of you. It's just, I think people have to remember they can't have 2 Zoom sessions open. You get reverberation.
I'd like to hear Ryan tell the bear story.
Okay, where's Jessica?
I'm right here. Did you want Ryan to tell the bear story first, though?
I don't care.
Ryan, tell us your bear story.
I think we've told the bear story so many times, and I was 7 at the time, and have the visual remembering, but not so much what was said. So hard to put into words. But we were sitting on the porch at Want to Come Back, and I looked out, and there's this big black thing that's. It was a baby bear, probably about your size, Jessica, just walking up the trail. And he came over and sniffed at the front door and sniffed at the back door, and Grandma was the only one there at the time. I think some other people had gone in the boat to picks up some new arrivals, but we were gone for a few hours. We were alone for a few hours, and so there were a few hours after that spent barricaded inside the cabin as we let the bear wander away and do his thing. But Grandma was in charge and knew what to do. But I remember saying, "Grandma, there is a bear out there," and she didn't believe me, and then she did.
So Ryan had a certain attraction for bears, because I think it was about the next year or so when we were in Yosemite, and he went out to the bathroom, and I don't know why it is, but we let him go to the outhouse by himself, and he ended up running into a bear coming out of the latrine. So the bear had just annihilated a cooler.
The bear was coming out of the latrine?
No, the bear was outside the
scary.
latrine. But at any rate, I think let's move on. That has nothing to do with Mom. And let's go on to Jessica.
Hi, guys. I'm sorry if you hear Adeline in the background. I can say thank you to Patrick right now for keeping her occupied. But this is Adeline Margaret Smith, too. Say hi.
Hey.
So her name keeps living on. Can you wave?
You wave? Wave.
Can you wave? She's a little mesmerized. Oh, that's a good wave. That's a good wave. Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely echo a lot of what's been said. I mean, especially and Tiff and Allison and Ryan. I think being on the West Coast, we didn't get to have those Sunday family dinners with, everybody out there, which is, really kind of struck me, when I heard about Margy is that, you know, Grandma passed, and it was kind of one of those things that I just wish that we had had more time, and that teleportation was already invented and we could just teleport over for Sunday dinner. But I think, like Allison and Ryan were saying, it was always an event when Grandma and Grandpa came to visit, or whenever we would go to Ohio. It was always an exciting time, the, you know, family vacation. And I always was also struck by the effort that they would put into it. You know, the fact that they did make these trips to Seattle and to California to come out and visit and really be there and be present in our lives, despite the fact that it takes time and, you know, money and vacation, you know, time away from jobs and everything else. So I think I always really appreciated that time and that effort. And I think that I always try to kind of, you know, do that as well with, you know, family and friends. And so, yeah. And I think, I guess I had just written down a couple of things that, I mean, I guess for me, memories of like vacation and want to come back and playing games and sitting down and reading with her. And, you know, when I was little, I remember her, you know, reading with me books and canoe rides. And I was actually really thankful that Patrick was able to meet Grandma and Grandpa. And that was 2011. We went to Want to Come Back. And I was really thankful that Patrick was able to meet them and you know, see what an influence that they've had on, I think, obviously all of us, and help shape, you know, who we are. And their influence is far reaching. I think that she, her love for like travel and adventure, I think was always important, going back to that, you know, making the effort to have a, you know, make a trip to the West Coast, or also just who really drags, you know, 4 children to a cabin in the middle of the woods that you have to drive a boat to, and there's no roads, you know. I mean, I think that Grandma and Grandpa had a lot of it, like a very adventurous spirit. And I hope to, you know, carry that on as well. And I agree with Heather that I literally was so confused that other people don't dip their grilled cheese in applesauce. But yeah, I think I always think of Grandma, and just her light and her kindness was always infectious and amazing. She always had a light around her.
Thanks, Jess. So I'm gonna introduce the CE Wrath side. Anybody on our side that would like to talk? Let's see. We have Tasha, Kate, Allison,
Catherine.
I mean, so Tasha, do you want to say something, and then we'll do it in order?
And everybody who's not talking, mute themselves, because we're getting a lot of feedback, and there's some people who aren't muted. So if you're not talking, mute yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to just share a quick little thing. It was something that Margy actually had written, I guess, for Grampy's 90th birthday. It's just a very small excerpt of it, but I really liked it because it spoke to me about like kind of where the spark for adventure had come from in her mind, where she said, having met my brother Albert and a new car, this is when they came back from the Philippines in 1934, I guess. We traveled as a family for 3 months from California to Worcester, Ohio. We visited relatives to establish new ties, and wonder of wonders, camped in and explored every national park and important monument in the States. This made an indelible mark on our lives that would influence our desire to travel and show the same wonders of our world to our kids. This trip sealed the bonding experience and importance of family togetherness that has uplifted us throughout our lives. What a gift from our parents. And I just, it's just been such a blessing to hear everybody share about Margy, and it just, it also makes my heart really sad for especially the Stauffers that you weren't able to have the kind of in-person celebration. And I'm sure eventually you might have that, but I just wanted to say, like, you know, I really feel for you. I think there's something so special about gathering as people and with loved ones and community to be able to like hug each other and feel something like this, the loss of somebody you love, together. So I'm really sorry that's not possible right now. And just listening to everybody talk about Margy, I just thought about, you know, what a gift she was to the world and what she passed on to everybody in this family. And, you know, I wish I would have had an opportunity to spend more time with her, but every time I did, one of the things that really stood out to me was that she shared a lot of qualities that my grandfather, Grampy, had. And you could just see how they came from the same family, because their genuine interest in you and their curiosity about what you were doing in your life, and their like, just, it always moved me, you know. It was like, it felt so genuine, and they really were so good at making connections with people, and just that kindness and that care for other human beings. You know, it makes me want to be a better person, just from being able to have that experience of getting to know them and feel their love and love them. And so, you know, I appreciate her for that, and I'll miss that she's in this world. So thank you.
So Kate, would you like to say something? Kate's from the farthest east.
The Far East in Croatia at the moment. Yes, thank you so much for I don't know, having this moment. I heard about Margy's passing, and it just felt like, for me, the end of a generation that had meant a tremendous amount to me, and really shaped so much of my life. And I always grew up hearing the stories of my grandfather and Margy, and now growing up in the Philippines. And you know, in a lot of ways, what Margy gave me was the Stauffers, which has been like a huge part of my life, and what a gift to be part of this family. And, you know, listening to all of you talk about her, I think a lot about, I think in this time where a lot of people feel a little bit lost and confused, that, you know, I think that generation was such a guiding light of the kind of person I'd like to be, and the kind of openness I want to bring into like my community and my life. And I think Margy really did that. And every time I saw her, I felt that. So I was really grateful for her presence in our family celebrations, and also in bringing all of you guys into my life. So thank you so much for, I don't know, it's great to see everybody. I'm far away, and I'm sure everyone feels that way at the moment, no matter where you are, but it's good to see family. And it is great to hear about Margy, because I was missing her, and that's all. I'm just sending my love to all of you.
Betsy, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
I wouldn't usually say that.
Never. You usually says mute yourself. That's what you say. You don't need me to unmute. Would love to introduce my daughter. I'm sorry my son can't be with us. Max is about to go away to Oberlin, and he is wanting to spend his last day with Max. I don't know, go figure. But anyway, he's sorry he can't be here. He was conflicted about it, but I told him he needed to be with his son. So he sends his best wishes and love for Margy. So he as well, Catherine will share her stories, but we enjoyed spending time with the Stauffers, and they grew up and want to come back too, you know, so, but never having their mother work the wood stove. I think I said that. Okay, love you. Here's Catherine.
I don't have, I mean, it's hard being the last one to go. I don't have, I think, anything new to share, but I definitely as other people have said, I feel the connection with the family. I think, you know, they were my Aunt Margy and my Uncle Dwight, even though I guess they were my great aunt and uncle. And so there was always that connection with family reunions. And I also echo Tasha that it's sad to me. I was there for Dwight's funeral, and I echo that, you know, it's sad that we don't get to come together as a family and hug. I think I'm a hugger, and so that's definitely been a hard thing for sure. But always that want to come back, or family reunions we got together. But also for me, as Tiffany I think said, you know, going to Worcester and then being really close with Heather. I got to know the Stauffers, I feel like, a little bit better, or at least the Ohio Stauffers a lot better, and got to get a lot of free meals. And just every, you know, for me, it was hard to separate Margy from Dwight, because they were a pair to me, and just always wonderful, wonderful people, always welcoming. I think I stored my stuff in their house for a while too. So like over the summer, maybe one time. But they were just, everybody's so wonderful. And it's an end of an era. And I think that makes me sad, because there just really aren't people like that anymore. And so thank you for including me and allowing me to listen to the stories. It's been wonderful. So that's all I have. I don't have anything else.
Well, I think it's great we were able to get everybody to say something, and it really has been a treat to hear from the whole family. And, you know, but the plan was, because some people are going to have to go, was to sort of end this in about 4 minutes, and just so people can go on with what they have to do and say goodbye. And then I'm going to leave, I'm not going to sign off. I'm going to leave it open. If there are other people that want to stay and chat for a while, I don't think that'll be a problem. I'll just let you go on. So
you can leave and assign someone else as the host when you go.
I could do that. I will. If somebody wants to be the host, I can make them the host. It ought to be somebody that wants to stick around.
Good plan, Chip.
I'm like, Alan had volunteered.
So, I imagine everybody else felt so moved like I did, and it was really just wonderful to have as much participation as we did, because there's quite a lot of people here and there, hither and yon, from, I guess, 600 miles off the Pacific coast to Opacha, Croatia, is the span. And I don't know if I could be north-south, but I think Dottie is the farthest south. And I don't know, maybe Derry's the farthest north, right? But I'm not sure. But anyway.
Croatia might be farther north too.
No, I don't think it is.
Anyway, thank you, Chipper. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was great seeing all you and hearing from people that we don't hear from very often. And it's really wonderful to have this extended family that would dedicate 90 minutes of their day to listening to other people's stories. I'm very impressed. And I'm very happy for this moment.
We loved Margy.
And all in celebration of a wonderful person who started this family togetherness, not started it, but continued with that generation from her parents and her siblings. So really great that we can kind of continue this on. I hope we get to do it another reunion, whether it's memorial next year for Mom, or just maybe we don't need somebody to die. Maybe we could actually talk.
Okay.
Maybe somebody
Just a thought.
Maybe somebody could just have another baby or something.
Pre-memorial.
So I forgot to mention that I clicked the button, and I am recording this, but I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to send it out. But I recorded it, and that's the only thing I need to say.
Do you have Google
And
Drive?
just for the recording thing, when you end the session, it's gonna tell you that it needs to encode the video and do a bunch of stuff in the background.
Convert.
When it's done,
forget
it will create a video file, and then it will create a separate audio file only. So if someone just wants audio only, it'll have that as well.
But if sorry for this technical issue, but if I'm going to leave and I'm going to have to click on end recording, I don't know if that's going to end the meeting.
No, it won't end the meeting, but you can make someone else host, and the recording should continue. And then when it finally ends, then it should do the.
Hi, Mateo.
Hi, Mateo.
So do you know, Brandon, if you finally quit, does it automatically stop recording so I don't have to worry about it? But I won't be able to say what kind of files or anything, right?
Yeah, it'll tell you where it's gonna put the file, and you can check in your settings.
It won't tell me if I'm not in front of the computer.
Okie dokie, kids.
Call
Brandon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye. I love you guys.
Bye,
So
everybody.
fun.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye. Everybody who has to go should go.
Bye, everybody. It was nice seeing you.
Everybody.
I have a short letter I could read from Mom if anybody wants to take an extra 2 minutes. This is
first for Chip's point. Is there somebody that knows how to host that he can flip it to?
You can try flipping it to me because I think that I'm recording it as well. So that's the best chance. I would still record it if you can, but flip it to me.
Okay. I'll flip again.
When you click end, it'll give you the option to pick a new host.
But it's actually, yeah, so it's Debbie's iPad, I think it says. Deb's iPad.
I was just looking for participants to see if I could find it, and I couldn't find it. Okay, so I'm going to click end. I hope that's all right. And I don't.
If something happens, we'll reply all to Chip's link with a new Zoom link. If people get dropped off, just check your email and you'll get a new Zoom link in a couple minutes if for some reason we get cut off.
Okay, so you've had more experience with it than I have, Allison. So should I click end now and then pick a new host?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Chip.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you
great.
so much. Margy would be
Okay, assign a new host. Here are my choices. Deb's iPad, okay.